All right, guys. So this clip is fun. It's very rare. It's very few and far between that I end up giving Bill Maher credit, but here we are. So Bill Maher had Ben Shapiro on his show this week, and he made very clear to wipe the smug smirk off of Ben Shapiro's face as they talk here about the killing of Charlie Kirk. Let's watch, and then we'll break it down.
If there's a shooting at a synagogue, it is very likely to be either a white supremacist or a radical Muslim. If it is a shooting of a Republican politician, it is very likely to be a trans Antifa Marxist shooter.
That is just not true. We don't know what this kid is.
We do know this kid was of the left. We do know that.
We do know what?
That this kid was of the political left. That is according to contemporaneous reporting from The Guardian as well as Tablet Magazine today.
It's 2 days out. We don't know shit, Ben.
But
we don't know shit. They never do. The internet is undefeated in getting it wrong to begin with.
It's not about the internet. That's about the actual reporting by mainstream accepted. The Guardian is not a right-wing news outlet.
By the way, I should just point out, and we covered this in our first segment today. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. The Guardian had to retract that. They literally had to retract this exact thing that Ben Shapiro was citing. So Bill Maher is completely vindicated. All right, let's keep going.
About the actual reporting by mainstream accepted. The Guardian is not a right-wing news outlet.
Here's what we heard. Here's what I was told so far, and I'll tell you what was wrong. First, I heard he's a registered Republican. Not true. Okay. Then he was a donor to Trump. Not true. His father works in the sheriff's office. Not true. There was a picture of him wearing a pro-Trump shirt. Not true. Member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Not true. We don't know what he is.
Well,
how are you so sure he's of the left? Now, I agree when you write on a bullet, what did he write on the bullet? Catch
this fascist, which is also a gamer thing.
That's interesting. Now Ben Shapiro is arguing against himself. When you write that on the bullet, the initial reaction from normies, including myself when I first saw it, is, oh, that seems like it's probably like a far left person killing Charlie Kirk. But then, you scratch a little beneath the surface and you find out very quickly that that's actually a video game thing as well. It's a video game thing as well. And the Ciao Bella thing, that's also, people thought, oh, that's an old anti-fascist song. It's also in a video game, and it's also a meme that was thrown around by far-right groypers, right? So, you got to dig a little deeper here. You got to go beneath the surface. You can't just look at face value. I actually don't disagree with Ben that the initial reaction, of course, everybody's going to assume if Charlie Kirk gets killed, they're going to assume it's somebody on the far left. In the same way that if I get killed, they're going to assume it's somebody on the far right who killed me, right? Like, that's a reasonable assumption. But then once the evidence starts coming in, you have to, drop that perspective and just go wherever the evidence takes you. And in this instance, it's certainly not what Ben Shapiro is portraying it as, which is like, oh, obviously it was somebody on the left. No, all of the centerpiece core parts of the evidence that they're using to make that claim, they have all totally fallen apart. Every one of those things, either retracted or fallen apart. And by the way, how many times they're trying so hard to make this a trans thing? First it was, oh, there was trans stuff on the bullets. No, that's not. Well, first they actually thought, oh, it's definitely a trans shooter. You had 4chan doxing a bunch of trans people who they thought were the shooter. They weren't the shooter, okay? Oh, it's a trans shooter. Turns out it's not a trans shooter. Oh, it's a trans bullet. Turns out it's not a trans bullet. Oh, it's a trans girlfriend of the killer, turns out, or trans girlfriend or boyfriend, turns out it's not a trans girlfriend or boyfriend. They just keep moving the goalposts. I saw somebody today earlier say, oh, he listened to an artist who sang about trans stuff. So now you've gone all the way from it's a trans shooter, you've had to move the goalposts all the way back to, well, he listened to some music where in the music, the person sang about some trans stuff. Can we fucking grow up here, please? The right is desperate to make this a left-wing thing so they could use it to crack down on the left. But I got news for you. Even if it's not the left, which doesn't look like it is the left, they're still going to crack down on the left because this is what Trump does. This is what Stephen Miller does. They forgot the question. The answer is shit on the left, attack the left, take down the left. They're literally launching organizations into Utah left-wing organizations. They're launching investigations into Utah left-wing organizations to take it down. That's what they're doing. And they were going to do that no matter what. And by the way, this guy's not cooperating. That's a little weird. He's not cooperating even though they say they got him red-handed. I told you about all the weird contradictions and the stuff that doesn't make sense in the official story. We went over that in the first segment. Again, you got to go watch that to see where we're at here. But certainly what we're looking at, the three possibilities are far-right Nazi type, deeply disturbed and mentally ill and sort of like nihilistic type killing, or some sort of professional hit job and this kid's a patsy. Those are the three things that are on the table now. The one, to me, that seems most unlikely at this moment is left-wing killer. There's still an outside chance of that being possible too, but it seems most unlikely. All right, let's keep going.
What did he write on the bullet for catch this?
Catch this fascist, which is also a gamer thing.
Okay, but now I'm hearing he may have been part of that group for whom Charlie Kirk was not right-wing enough.
You mean the Groypers, yes. I mean, so that would...
you're sure he's not that?
I'm not sure that he's not that.
A minute ago you were sure what he was.
Hold on. No, hold on. Okay, because I've been...
You were.
This is why Bill Maher is so annoying, right? Because when he's against us, he's the most smug motherfucker on the planet. But then when he's with you, you just thoroughly enjoy him taking somebody down. Watch one more time.
Catch this fascist, which is also a gamer thing.
Okay, but now I'm hearing he may have been part of that group for whom Charlie Kirk was not right-wing enough.
You mean the Groypers, yes. I mean, so that would...
you're sure he's not that?
I'm not sure that he's not that.
A minute ago you were sure what he was.
Hold on, Bill. Hold on. Okay, because I've been...
You were.
A minute ago you were sure what he was. Again, I can't say it enough. Go watch the first segment that I did because that really breaks down where we're at in this investigation. But suffice to say, the FBI is fucking, like, they're useless. They're worse than useless. Everything they're putting out is totally contradictory or, like, desperately hoping, wish casting that this is a left-winger. That's all they're doing. That's all they're good for. That's it. Right? And look, there's some speculation. The reason why he's not cooperating is because they're probably trying to get him to say he's a lefty. And he's refusing to do it because he's not. It's either that or he just is insisting he didn't do it, right? That's what we got right now. That's where we're at right now. So the FBI is useless. So it's almost like the stuff to trust is like not the stuff that comes from the FBI because it's run by fucking Tweedledee and Tweedledum, right? It's run by fucking Curly, Larry, and Moe. You got fucking Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. Kash Patel's out there. I'll see you in Valhalla, brother. What the fuck is this? White nationalist, pagan, Norse mythology shit in a fucking official press conference. They've already fucked up the investigation 14 ways to Sunday. You can't trust shit coming out of this FBI. This FBI is a joke. And so it's just you gotta go based off of what the reputable news agencies are saying. But even then, it takes a while to dig through the weeds, But there you have it, Ben Shapiro. That did not go well. It's funny because Ben desperately also wants this to be a lefty, but he also hates the Groypers because the Groypers hate him. I don't know if you know this, Ben Shapiro is Jewish. And the Groypers, not too fond of Jews. And so they also hate him. They've gone after him before, not physically, but, he's a target of their ire. And so he doesn't like them either, but Ben still desperately is trying to make this more of a left-wing thing, which is interesting to me that, no matter what, they always come home to fuck the left. Like, no matter what other shit is going on, it's always like they want it to be the left, desperately. Well, the bad news for them is when you look at the actual statistics of these things, it is not remotely close, bro. Not remotely close. You have, it's like, I don't know, 80-20, 90-10, something like that. 80%, 90% of the political violence is done by right-wingers and only 10 to 20% is done by left-wingers. I mean, it's night and day because it really is true that people who are generally on the left, the overwhelming majority of them view part and parcel of being on the left as like believing in peace, right? Believing in nonviolent resistance when it comes to protesting at home. And so that imbalance is expected, at least from my perspective, but he doesn't quite see it like that now, does he? Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You want to.